Welcome everyone for another, albeit probably shorter episode of Adventures of Marr. We're joined by the usual crew, an hour late, but it is how it is. Last time, who wants to do the recap? Anyone?
Captured a
We went out
giant and
into
didn't
the
all
desert.
die.
Go ahead,
We
Korinne.
got-
We captured a giant, didn't all die, and nobody killed anybody.
I mean, yeah, that technically fulfills it. All right, and where you ended up last time, you returned back to Freeport after 11 days in the desert. Most partially of which was traveling back. You returned with the sand giant in tow, having dumped a great deal of your supplies. To just put the giant on the back of a wagon, and you've gone back into the city limits. Under a significant escort of Freeport militia, you're being guided into the northern North Freeport district. Remarkably close to the Lord Mayor's palace, in fact. Once you've arrived outside of that the gold and blue palatial building, one of the special detachments of the Freeport militia, specifically designed for guarding special buildings after the Freeport Authority, wearing a cape with the authorities symbol upon it, a hammer crossed with sextants, approaches you. He sees the giant cargo that has been brought this far into the wealthy district of the city, and the guards that escorted everyone within. He says, hold a moment. We will take this giant off your hands, and you may wait inside. The Lord Mayor will wish to see you at the earliest convenience. No, Scoggin, it is it is black on a gold background.
Is he trying to steal our giant?
No.
Okay.
That's what's steal
Make
a
sure.
giant.
I don't think you could get away with it fast enough.
I'm just making sure. Went through all this trouble to get it. Don't want to lose it at the last step.
Alright, so
Yes,
besides concerns about the giant theft, Grand Theft Giant, the party has no reaction to this.
Well, we do as we're told, I suppose.
Okay. Alright, so part of the detachment of special guards splits off to join with the other escorts, while one of the guards brings the 12 of you within the palace. Inside are halls decorated with artistic tapestry of many different varieties, displaying a great variety of things like heroic myths or scandalous imagery, family trees of nobilities long past, and even earthly delights. Let's leave it like that. Hallways diverge into the several very open rooms. One of them you pass would be a room filled with exotic plants that could not possibly be growing outside the palace walls without the assistance of mages, or at least some gardener of import that is maintaining the environment for these plants to grow. Another room would be filled with a smoky haze, and within would be people lounging with little garb upon them. You are escorted into one such room on the second floor that is open to a balcony space. There are no chairs like one would find in a majority of taverns, but floor filled with cushions, very small tables that are low to the ground to accompany the level of one lounging upon such finery. And there are manservants on wait inside such a parlor. Once you've been guided within, the authority guard just bows and he requests that you wait within, and you will be summoned shortly. It is here that one of the tieflings, I believe the name was which tiefling with this? Skarkith would be joking around about all the about the Temple of the Lights that they've entered into, to some of the pained groanings of his edgier tiefling compatriot. The knights of the group being the knight that has not named himself, and Sir John seemed less approving of the environments, while the elf just simply takes a seat in a corner as if it's a matter of course, alongside her handmaid. You lounge for a bit, and after an hour of being waited upon servants, being given bowls to wash your faces, or perfumes to clean the air of the desert around you, you get one of the authority guards to once more come in and say, you're being accepted in the Great Hall. Please follow me. From there, you are taken into another great series of halls, decorated with swords and armor that look far more decorative in nature than practical of use. And at the very least, no trained eye can say that they're magical by any nature. You're taken to the first set of normal doors in this place. A set of sturdy oaken double doors. Here, the doors are opened by a pair of guards to escort you within. This hall is long and highly vaulted. Within, manservants stand by pillars that support the tall ceiling of the room. At the opposite end of the room is a golden throne adorned with several gemstones that seem to sparkle like the night sky beneath the sunlight that barely comes through a single porthole in the ceiling. After a moment of waiting, the crimson-haired host enters the scene, dressed in opulent red dress with golden trim. Holding in her hand a scepter with a curved top that embraces a fist-sized orb like it's a snake gently wrapped around whatever material is within its clutches. Venamok Town announces, "Rest a hand upon your weary bodice, for before you stands a goddess that will make all your wishes come true in one night. Forgive this blasphemous fiction, for it is all in present jovial diction. The last thing I'd wish to conjure is a fight. You have traveled far into these walls to bring Sandy Giant to these halls. To share with you good tidings is what's right." She then crosses a hand beneath her chest and bows after what seems to be a recitation of hers. There's a couple within your group that have the good humor to applause, being Skarkith. Skarkith, Meridian, and Haley.
Is this traditional? Is this traditional, or is she just doing it because she wants to?
Are you asking that aloud?
See, she doesn't actually want to be the leader of Freeport. She wants to be a rapper.
I'm doing my sense motive to see if this is traditional or if she's just doing it because she wants to.
It seems that the red-haired maiden of Freeport is in a great mood. She doesn't seem to be forced to recite poetry, to say the least. The Lord Mayor smiles, viewing all of those, including you, in attendance after bathing in their view of her poetry. She claps her hands together, and more servants fill the room with platters filled with more alcoholic beverages that have been denied to you thus far on your visit. Each of them stops before you, offering a goblet of reddish liquid to partake in. And she walks about the hall, perusing the cushions before taking a seat upon her own opulent throne. She says, "It is not the first time that I've engaged in poetry, but the mood came upon me to try my hand when I heard of the gallant 12 that arranged under the Adventure Guild's direction. It is no surprise to find members of the Knights of Justice and the Warriors of Thunder in attendance, but relatives of foreign dignitaries and some ex-soldiers were not within immediate expectations. She says, eyeing the elves of the group and Castor specifically when she says the last part. This day is all about you, 12 brave heroes, and the rewards I will shower upon your head for your success, and hopefully further participation in the giant hunt. Each of you shall come before me in turn, and in private audience, to submit upon me your wish, and I, the wealthiest person in all the free cities, shall appropriately reward you. As I will your funders who have been summoned to come and shall be partaking a party at this palace here within the night. And this very night the city shall celebrate before continuing this grand celebration of our city's anniversary, for only the grandest of prizes was seized. Now, if you shall excuse me, I shall enter into my office, and you shall each be summoned in turn. Please do enjoy the food and beverages I have on hand until the party of tonight. She says before standing up to no immediate word or objections to her statement, and she returns from whence she came into a back room. Let's see. How do I want to do this? Does anyone specifically reject any gifts offered by the servants, whether it's the booze or food that we had on hand?
Skagen only drinks water.
Okay.
But other than that, she'll eat food.
Varian refuses this drink because he wishes to be sober to make his wish.
Okay.
I'll sip a little, nib a little.
So there's 12 people. How many of them are going to ask her to marry them?
Is that what's on Varian's mind right now?
Well, it's either that or getting a temple somewhere in the rich part of the city, and
Oh, I mean, there is a bard in the group, so the chances aren't zero.
Exactly. I don't want to wish for something someone else is gonna wish for, you know?
Well, in that case, there's a druid here of some kind, as well as a cleric, I think, to the court. But I assume that they have their own wishes for the court's benefit.
Yeah, but is any of them going to ask for a temple to John, though? No.
Not off the top of the head. Moments pass after departing, and one by one, after your peoples get situated within the room, people from other groups are summoned to come to the back room. After this process seems a quarter way through, individually arriving are the sponsors of the journey overall. John's group had the representative of of the court of Korra appear. A man, it seems, dressed in half black, half white robe, with a mask of similar division appears. One of the servants introduces him as Judge Malice Vin. And your sponsor, alone this time without her crewmates, dressed in far finer attire than she appeared in within the Adventurers Guild. It seems like she has taken her chance to purchase new clothes that got tailored within the week that you've all been departed. For the Elven group, there is a green-robed Elven woman. It seems to be a cleric of some kind, or a priest, from the four temples. From the faith of the four goddesses appears. And who was the backing of Petra's group? I think that was the merchants of Freeport, right? But at any rate, the fourth sponsor to show up is a man of well-bred appearance, with his belly barrel-shaped, dressed in nice fineries that seem ill-fitting for his own stature, appears in the hall. He is introduced as Bellic Strahd, Guildmaster of the Freeport Adventurers. Each of these patrons have gone to their own groups, or in the case of Bellic Strahd, was immediately summoned to the back room to speak with the Lord Mayor. With a dignity and gentleness that should not display within the tavern, Sharan Gresso walks before your group's gathering place. She says, "Congratulations on surpassing the expectations. The hand has placed good faith in each of you."
Thank you, Scoggin says as she nods.
Though I suppose, knowing that your success was well earned, it comes with some regret that you will not join me and mine upon a voyage, or at the very least, not one that is contractually bound. It still does good for the lot of you adventuring types to have connections among the seafaring folk as I, is it not?
Indeed. And, one never knows when one might find oneself in need of a friend knowledgeable of the seas.
And who knows, one time you might find your calling to Moortide and friendly face like mine will be eagerly awaiting for you to come and join us. Now, I haven't heard particulars besides that the giant has actually been caught and is being imprisoned as we speak. What has occurred, if you don't mind me asking?
Your crew were quite that you lent to us for the test. They were quite instrumental in helping capture the giant, using their arbalest to cast a great net upon the giant. We then managed to cast ropes upon him and bring him to the ground, and some of us beat him into unconsciousness. Uh, and then we secured manacles around him and bound him so that he couldn't escape.
Well, at the very least, they're not telling a fictitious tale. She looks to the others in the group. And did you enjoy your little adventure in the sands, or is this, or are giants truly a fearsome opponent?
Some of us were less keen on the prospect than others, but in the end, it seemed to be easier than we expected. But then again, we did have a large group of experienced warriors.
Hard to be formidable when you're outnumbered 12 to 1.
Korinne shrugs slightly. Yes, one can't help being outnumbered, even with great strength of their own. I suppose things would be worse if you were deeper into the giant lands, like I've heard other adventuring groups of less number going into. While the discussion goes on, a servant approaches and bows before. Let me do a quick roll. Let's do it in order of alphabetical order. Okay, bows before Sid, saying, Master Dwarf, the Lord Mayor seeks you out.
Ruh-roh, Raggy.
Go and make your wish.
Do come with me, please. The servant says before gesturing to the room that the Lord Mayor had disappeared to a half hour prior.
I'm just gonna look at Bright and Erazem and be like, save me. With that look in the eye before following the servant.
You can do it. Ask her to marry you.
Well, luckily the bard hasn't gone into that room yet. All right, in the back room, Sid is exposed to a less luxurious place, somewhere more befitting for a office of a mayor or some dignitary than this temple of good fortune. Sitting behind a wooden desk and what seems to be a regular chair is the still opulently dressed Lord Mayor. Vina gestures to a seat that's before her desk and says, "Please sit. Your contributions are great, and I am here to be interested in your desire."
Is this a negotiation?
Vina smiles and shrugs. It is if you intend it to be. I'm willing to part with, at the minimum, 3,000 gold coins. All yours if that is, what you wish for, but, something specific may be arranged.
Well, for Sid's contribution, that seems fair.
See, I had heard that your people had found quite a few sights out in the desert these past few months. Stumbling upon some dark elves, doing some horrid demon summoning in a cave. You even found an artifact that was presented to you from some tower within Orcish lands.
Milady Lord Mayor is surprisingly well informed.
Before being Lord Mayor, I was a merchant. Being well informed is my duty. This entire palace wasn't paid for by the money of the tax-paying peoples of Freeport. It is by the contributions of all Lord Mayors of past within their own professions that have earned them great wealth.
So it would seem. As for you people, if you mean me and my party specifically, then yes, that would accurately sum up our adventures. If you mean a collective of other dwarves, this I cannot speak to.
I regret to inform you that would be
people.
I regret to inform you that I'm not referring to dwarves in general. The contribution to dwarves in general in Freeport is more of a murky matter, and it is better to discuss the contributions of individuals, is it not?
In this case, yes, especially. Though one has to wonder how far the all-seeing eye would go, since it would seem that some of these things can only be learned by first-hand experience, or having been a witness.
Well, it depends on the deeds of witness. After all, the Dark Elves were holding captive some of our guard, and your people have been so kind enough to even revive a couple of them. And for that they are eternally grateful and hold steadfast to the memory of your group's heroism. How unfortunate that it is only 2 of your number that yet remain who have done the deed. And as for the artifact that you've bought from the orcs, let's say mutual friends of ours have made quite the fortune selling it to a prospective buyer. She says, tapping a finger on her lapel. It is not every day, of course, that we get items from other planes appearing in Freeport.
See, at this point, I'm just trying to be careful and not talk to the police. Because if she knows all this, she might know about the monk and Braga and everything else. And I'm like, I don't really want to volunteer any information.
Okay.
What do you mean know about Braga? Braga was hurt in an unfortunate accident.
Exactly.
And
The fog of war really is a terrible thing.
And to my memory, since we both have mutual friends of a certain stripe, you might want some assurances beyond just a simple matter of 3,000 gold. How does a possible pardon recommendation sent by the Lord Mayor of Freeport to the Church of Quora sound on your behalf? Just in case if anything happens.
Positive references are always well appreciated.
She smiles. It's a pleasure doing business with you. Sid, I take the name you prefer to
Sid.
be called?
Sid will suffice, milady Lord Mayor. Though if you will indulge my curiosity, what exactly did you hope to achieve by obtaining a sand giant?
She leans back in her chair and says, as I said, I'm a merchant, and obtaining deals is as simple of a matter as is of obtaining some form of leverage. Others simply try to get better goods or more stock within their simple means. Others try to force another party's hand. I believe it's in the best interest of all Freeport if giants are a bit more restricted in what they can do and in what deals they can make with whom. Now, about your goal.
Thank you for indulging my curiosity.
She just simply nods her head and then claps her hands together. A servant comes in with the small, strong box. Within, you'll find 300 platinum within, and she takes out a piece of parchment from her desk and then writes upon it a reminder from my person that I shall prepare that document that we spoke of, just in case if anything occurs.
Many thanks. What is the proper way to address her?
Are you asking her or asking me?
I'm asking you. I'm assuming this would be somewhat common knowledge.
Safe assumption would be Lord Mayor.
I thank you for your many gifts and great indulgence, Lord Mayor.
Now go and enjoy the festivities. You and yours have earned it.
I will nod and run away.
Flee with all due haste.
As hastily as I can without looking like I'm trying to run away.
But you are trying to run away.
I know, but I don't mean I have to look like it. Professionals have standards.
Can I get a bluff for running away without looking like you're running away?
What's the sense motive on the Lord Mayor?
Better than that's for sure. I'm glad I have parole set to private right now. Okay. Next to be called up, the servant stands before Bright's character, Varian, and says, "You've been called for audience with the Lord Mayor."
Lead the way.
All right. He leads you into the back room of the same description that Sid has witnessed. The Lord Mayor greets you with a smile and says, "Ah, you are the priest from that temple within East Freeport, are you not? One of those spiritualists?"
Well, my current religion is in question.
Oh,
But
has
yes, I belong to the...
has the desert
belong to
given
the
you a crisis of faith?
Not the desert. You could say a different god has chosen me.
I'm curious, she says, touching her bottom lip. As I've told your friend and others, I'm here to grant your wishes. At the least I can do is provide a stipend of 3,000 gold per person.
I was considering this wish for a while now. I had the whole desert trip to ponder it. Is the possibility of a temple built within the wealthier side of Freeport within the confines of this wish?
Oh, that is quite a valuable request of yours, she says, covering her lips, pondering it for a moment. She says, and upon what god's name is this temple directed to?
The god goes by John.
She looks taken aback and quizzical. John? I'm afraid
Quite
I
a
haven't
simple
heard
name.
of this god.
A deceptively simple name.
Could I have Varian roll a will save real quick?
Varian's very good will saves. Let me just pull up my will saves.
Alright, within the within the back of Varian's head, he can hear a cackling that is broken up by coughing that sounds like it's bitten from a smoker's lung. And then such a dulcet tones of very memorable voice. He hears ring 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 ring. John's calling. Before his thoughts are all that fill his head.
Weird.
Vina says, with the proper leverage, this can be arranged within the month. It won't be a place that is designed to be a temple at first, but I assume that If your god can maintain a following, shaping a place to be a proper temple isn't far beyond your abilities.
Truly, you are most generous, Lord Mayor. Varian bows.
She nods her head and makes note of it on paper underneath a line that she's just recently written on parchment. She says, it will take some time to arrange for some evictions, but rest assured, your wish shall be fulfilled, Sir Varian. Please do go back and enjoy the festivities.
Should we count on your appearance at tonight's soiree?
Oh, but of course, I always join in to my parties that I funded myself.
Then I must remember to ask you for a dance. Varian bows and makes his way towards the exit.
Alright. Okay. Alright, so Erazem, Caster's the next to be summoned. A servant stands before him and utters the same words that he offered to two of your compatriots before pulling them aside.
Castor follows him in silence.
Alright. Within the office, he sees that the Lord Mayor stands wrapped with it, or sits wrapped with attention. Her elbows upon the desk before her, her fingers steepled as she looks to Caster. She says, the Imperium man. It was quite a surprise to hear of you engaging within this little hunt. I had heard Okay.
It was to repay a debt owed.
A debt owed to the people you joined, no doubt, for salvaging you from a little squabble in East Freeport, if my ears are hearing correctly.
They indeed are.
Now, what business would the Astron Imperium Company want with a civilian of theirs? A recent civilian of theirs.
They did not come to asking me. I was rescued before they had the chance. I still don't quite know myself why, but I might have a few ideas. My
I'm quite
running away
curious
from the
myself.
Legion.
Oh.
Yeah, my running away from the Legion might have something to do with it, but I would have thought it was on good terms that I left. Maybe there was something they didn't quite. I'm unsure. I am really unsure. It is a weird event. I dislike weirdness.
Well, at the very least, this attention to your person is most likely a nuisance to you, and now being pronounced heroes of Freeport, we simply can't have any future entanglements with the Imperium trying to capture you. I will see to it that the Imperium is informed that you are well immune from their attentions within our walls, even within their own embassies.
Caster bows. My thanks.
But I suppose that doesn't suffice for a personal wish of yours, does it?
I had always thought about my craftsmanship. I was very skilled, and but I never quite figured out the art of infusing magic into any weapons and armor. I'm not quite sure how you might help with this. Maybe you have some ideas.
I have some connections. I can certainly request some mages of no insignificant status to appear before you and coach you within the arts of enchantment.
They do know quite a lot of magic. I think that might be useful indeed.
And
Very
does this
useful.
satisfy you for your personal reward?
Well, my workshop is still in the not quite so good part of town. Maybe there's something you can arrange
Yes, from what I hear, you have
for me to
a
move.
stall for your smithy. Well, I'm not
Indeed.
certain with all the other resources I'd be spending getting you tutelage and getting you diplomatic immunity from your own countrymen. I can see to it that your place in Western Freeport is, well, far more established than what you currently have on hand. Instead of nights at
Caster bow.
Instead of nights in an inn, you might enjoy now spending your nights within a home of your own ownership.
Caster bows again. My sincere thanks, milady.
You're most welcome. Continue doing great deeds for the people of Freeport, and the people of Freeport shall reward you with equal compassion. Now do enjoy the festivities. Alright, and lastly to be called up is Skogan. Once more, a servant approaches, bows, and says, your presence is requested by the Lord Mayor. Lady Elf.
Skogan follows the servant.
Okay. Within the back room, the office of the Lord Mayor, Vina looks somewhat relaxed, sitting behind her desk. She says, do please sit. Skogan, I hear the name is?
Yes, thank you, Lord Mayor. She bows before taking a seat.
Your adventurers have done quite much for the the people of Freeport, including my own militia. They have rewarded you with their things before, but I have not appropriately issued my own. She nods her head. Thank you for your services so far.
Thank you for graciously allowing adventurers such as myself to take work on behalf of Freeport.
It is merely your people doing their jobs, is it not? If not you, others would take your place, but we are grateful that you have done so. But let's not dwell upon the more distant past. You have done a great service for Freeport by providing us a giant. And I will see to it that you're rewarded appropriately. Now, what would a person of your status so wish for?
Spells.
Well, I am saving money in the hopes of acquiring some magically enchanted armor. So whatever your lordship would consider to be fair compensation for the capturing of the giant, I'm sure would go well to helping me acquire such an item. Other than that, I ask only to be considered by your lordship should any further work on behalf of Freeport suitable to someone of my skills arise.
Lady Vina smiles. I shall take both your requests into consideration. She says, taking a tone of magnanimity. Jin stands up from her seat. I have many items within my vaults, most of which are coin, but of course, enchanted items are not far and away impossibilities to find within there. Before the night's end, I can easily reward you with a piece of equipment that is, or was, simply gathering dust, if you would take it.
I would be most flattered to receive such a gift of armor.
Looking over Scoggins' stature, Vina nods to herself. I do believe I have a piece of armor more suited to one of your talents. I'm guessing, of course, you do not mean something akin to plate mail to adorn yourself with. Am I correct?
That is correct. I was had once spotted in the markets of Freeport a shirt of mithril chain that had additional magical enhancements to it. Of course, this was well out of my ability to afford, but I stored it in the back of my mind, thinking that someday I might save up the necessary funds to procure such an item.
I assure you, I have one better that is not so spectacular as in the draw eyes. More suited for one of your skills. As I said, I shall have a servant bestow it upon you during the party of this night. Please do go enjoy the festivities.
Scoggin bows deeply and thanks the Lord Mayor before exiting.
All right. So you each return to your groups before it seems that the patrons themselves are being drawn into back rooms. Seeming very jovial, Meridian strolls up to your party, relaxed as can be, with hands crossed behind his head, asking, "So what did you ask the Lord Mayor for?"
He comes up to all of us, or to
Yep.
Skagen specifically?
Well, I assume that your party isn't just like spread around, just talking to random people. I assume they're more close to each other. Go ahead and correct me on that assumption, of course.
I'm sure Varian would be staying behind, helping Sid with her immense paranoia.
And recently gained fortunes, yes.
Listen, healing isn't cheap unless it's free.
So yeah, I'd suppose that after Skagen met back up with Castor, he'd be asking the two of you then.
You were an associate of Melchior. Is that correct? Viridian, was it?
Meridian.
Oh, of course. I'm so sorry.
And yes, I do know Melchior. He has been a teacher of mine, in fact. He is a man of quite many skills.
Indeed, he's certainly a man to know in this town.
Was
But
this the
back-
poison guy?
Yes, this is the poison guy.
Varian would congratulate him on his stellar work.
Melchior bows deeply. It is always it is always a craftsman dream to be appreciated for his work. Though thanks to my teacher ought to be transferred properly as well. Do tell Melchior next time you see him that you've said such of my skills. Now about the question. Yes.
Oh, I was just going to say Skagen nods and says, "Indeed, next time we see Melchior, we'll tell him of your invaluable part in subduing the giant. Perhaps he might have work that we partake of together in the future."
One can only hope, Lady Elf. He says before looking over Castor for a moment. Well, I've seen few people walk out of there with bundles and chests. I have seen your people more often than normal walk out with a little on their hands, not even a scroll or a promise in writing. What did you request from the Lord Mayor, Sir Castor?
A quick dip between her legs.
Meridian laughs aloud. I sure hope the Lord Mayor was so kind to accept your wish. One doesn't see
Wouldn't you
rich
like to
ladies like
know?
that get out often.
Skagen get the horny bed.
Sorry, what? No, I literally didn't understand what Bright said.
Bright said Scott can get the horny bat.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so a laugh later, Melchior says, or not Melchior, Meridian says, well, fine then, keep your secrets if that is your intention. What about you, Lady Elf? Did you ask for her hand in marriage, or something to that akin?
Merely some armor to better protect myself when out adventuring.
An honest answer, and equally as enjoyable as crude humor. Meridian says, putting his hands on his hips, with the smile upon his face. And you, Blood Priest?
I had some real estate to sort out.
Clever planning for the future. There's no more secure of real estate than one offered by the owner of all in the city. Alright, and from this encounter, the night continues on. Patrons leave the room, including Sharan, who appears before your party, drink now in hand, seeming more comforted after the meeting. She says to all of you, this is a pleasant day, and I thank you for accepting my patronage. I leave port this month. If you do want anything from me, anything at all, don't hesitate to ask. And she looks to Varian and says, and you, sir, you have a issue with people of my most honored profession. I do hope you can come around to the fact that not all scavengers are dreadful people.
Varian's just wondering, when she said profession, does she mean furry or pirate?
I don't think furry is a job.
How the hell are they all so rich then?
they don't work for it, that's for sure.
Varian is somewhat more amicable to the tomboy pirate over other pirates.
She straightens out her cravat after taking another sip of the sour alcoholic beverage provided, and says, apparently this party is going to be a festivity inside of all of Northern Freeport, not just the palace. I'm going to take it upon myself to enjoy the affairs with my men in the streets rather than in this great temple of wealth. I bid the lot of you a good evening, and I hope to see you in the future. And gives the lot of you a wave and departs if you have no other words for her captainy self. And as far as I know, that includes the most planned portion of the session. It is a very short session, like I said it was, because I don't want to commit to anything. Aside from the wards that you got from Vina Mocktalon, you also get a level individually. Congratulations.
Huzzah.
Yay!
A hard-earned level after so much adventuring over 10 level or 10 episodes.
Glad to see John exists.
Glad to see investment in John.
I'm sure he will be pleased with his new temple.
And glad to see that nobody actually requested Venus' hand in marriage.
Listen, if Francis was here, he wouldn't hesitate.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be his funeral. That would be the important thing. He'd at least get a night of enjoyment out of it. Anyway. Yes, I think that I'm going to call the session for today. Unless anyone has any business they think they need sorted out with their characters before they go and level up.
No, I can't think of anything.
I'll just take that as that I have all the corners covered, and I'm very fulfilling as a DM. All right. Thanks everyone that joined us on the YouTubes. Have a good night.